ladies from Immaculate Conception High School and your teacher, Mrs. Chung Gordon. I always get her name mixed up, but I think I got it right this time. So, I would also like to extend my welcome to our project manager for the eDrive project in the back. She will be telling us very exciting things about our project right after I'm finished giving this address. And I'm sure you ladies are wondering what exactly is eDrive, and I would suggest that you listen when she's speaking because we may or may not have some prizes to give away. So I'll invite my project manager to give you an overview of Project eDrive.
Now, what is Project eDrive? eDrive is a project that is funded by JPS Foundation and the IDB Lab, and the main purpose of our project is to create an enabling environment for an e-mobility ecosystem. One of the things that we have committed to is that by 2030, we want to reduce the greenhouse gas effects that we have in our area, right? So we want to reduce the emission of carbon dioxide. True? And we know that with the vehicles that we have today, that those vehicles use gasoline, right? And when they drive, we emit carbon dioxide. True? And then our third component deals with capacity building and training. And to make sure that as these vehicles come into Jamaica today, that we have persons who are trained to look about these vehicles, that we have the right skill set. So we are training vehicle technicians to repair and to maintain these vehicles.
What is STEM? STEM, as you can see, science, technology, engineering, and math. What this does is it creates a different field of groups that you can use towards bettering yourself. Now you have different job opportunities. You have website design, as you had mentioned, application design, different things. And I'm just going to tell you a little story, and I'm going to give you some advantages of what it's like to work in STEM. All right? So my first job was at Rubis Energy Jamaica. You guys know where that is? Or you know what it is? It's a gas station, right? I worked at the head office there, and I was a card services agent. So that's just a fancy name for answering emails and replying to customer queries. That's what I did. It wasn't really anything that I wanted to do, and it kind of had some computer stuff in there, but it didn't really have what I wanted to do in my field. But I worked there. And one thing that's really important is when you're working somewhere, you try to do the best that you can be, and you try to incorporate things that you like, right? Because they always say, if there's something that you like to do, if you follow through with that, then you'll never work a day in your life. So now while I was doing this, I was answering emails. I thought about how I could make the processes better. I started writing code. I would just pick up things and I'd say, you know what, let me write something that can send that email for me. So I automated the process. You guys know about automating processes, right? So I write something to send that email for me. Next thing I said, you know what? I don't really like doing this task where I have to log in and I have to put something on the computer, then I have to send it to my boss. So I wrote some code that would do that for me as well. What I didn't know was that people were actually looking at this. They were looking and saying like, wow, you know, Kayvia is able to do this. She's automating this. And, you know, it looked like she's actually doing well at work. Now, while I was there at Rubis, you know, I'm looking out for other opportunities. And I hear them talking about an IT position. So remember, I'm just sending emails, I'm just answering customer stuff, I'm doing my own little thing. But I hear them talking about IT. So I said to myself, all right, how can I do this? How can I get into IT? Can you guess what the next step that I did? Can anyone guess? I looked up the job and I said, you know what, it has these different career things. It says, I need to know what a server is. I need to know how to manage a server. I need to have Excel skills. So I took that upon myself and I said, all right, you know what? I'm going to learn this. I'm going to learn this and I'm going to apply for it. So I go to the manager and say, hey, I really would like to learn about IT. Is there any way that I could be in this field? And he said, did anyone talk to you already? I said, no. And he said, well, we saw that you were in your position and we saw that you were automating tasks by yourself and you started picking up things and suggesting things and you were really enthusiastic about the work. So we actually want to offer you the position already. Somebody just had to come and talk to you. I'm ecstatic. I'm like, wow, I get to switch over. This is what I really want to do. I head into IT, I don't know anything. The guy said, hey, you know about servers? I said, yes, I don't know. I didn't know anything at all. But I would go home and I'd Google it, I'd do my research. And that's part of the thing in STEM. As a female, you're not really going to be expected to know everything. It's really just a limitation we have. But it is up to us to make it better. It's up to us to prove them wrong.
All right, so the next slide I have is expanding the network. And I named it expanding the network because I'm a grid engineer at JPS. What that means is that I'm a part of the planning team that says, what do we do with our grid? How do we improve our grid? How do we expand, right? All right, so the grid is basically the electricity network right across the island. So each home gets electricity. You get it through some conductors, wires coming to you, right? Along the roads, leaving from the substation. The substation is going to get the electricity because it's coming from a generating station, all right? So that is basically what the grid is. It is the network of all the cables, the transformers, the generators, and you, the customer, who we call the load, right? So you are a part of the grid. So as we increase the amount of homes and the usage of electricity, we need more electricity, which means sometimes we're going to need some bigger wires, we're going to need larger transformers. And so as a part of the planning team, that is a part of my responsibility. We have to look at the grid, see what's going on the grid, and say, okay, do we need a second transformer? Do we need more lines here? Do we need to expand? And what do we do? All right, so our typical outlets that we're looking at, when you plug in, charge your phone, your laptop, that kind of thing, you're getting electricity because it's charging your device, right? But in order for you to get electricity, you need current and you need voltage, right? The voltage that you get is basically constant that you're getting from GPS. It's 110 volts. And the current is going to fluctuate now based on what you're plugging. So for example, your fridge, you're familiar with the term, the fridge burn more light or more electricity than your charger, your laptop, that kind of thing. That's because your fridge is using more power, so it's using more current than your laptop or the charger for your phones, right? So it's using more current, more power, and then we call it more electricity as a very general term. So in order for you to get electricity in your homes, JPS has to generate it somewhere, and then we transmit it to you. So when you go out onto the road and you see all the light posts, you see all the wires running along, some of those, you ever hear the term high voltage? All right. So what you're getting in your house is 110, which is low voltage, and that's for your safety and for our safety. Outside, running on the poles, avoid them at all costs. That's now high voltage. So you're getting like 69 kilovolts. So that's 69,000 volts that you're getting on those lines. And then we step that down with transformers, so you get 110. You see the difference there is 69,000 to 110. That's for safety, and so we can transmit electricity around the country without having a lot of losses, right? So when we look at this video that we call Crash Course, that's basically showing you what inside of a substation looks like. So I don't know, any of you pass by, you're passing by the road and you see them little station with a whole lot of metal put up? Right, that's a substation.
All right, so a little bit about Youth Can Do IT just before we move on. It's an organization that I started in 2016. It was born out of the desire to use technology and self-actualization as a catalyst for the capacity for building our youth. So the ultimate goal and vision and aspiration is to be the tech talent pipeline of the Caribbean. So some impacts that we've, numbers to note, we've impacted and engaged over 2,000 youth with career days, events, programs, school tours, workshops. Over 500 youth have actually attended
one of our programs, whether it be a summer camp, a mentorship program, or ambassador program, or community center projects, like in the video that you saw earlier. 35 youth have received jobs coming out of our program, because that's ultimately the goal that we want, for people to get jobs, right? We've had over 12 youth attend international events, so like hackathons all the way over to Geneva, Switzerland. This person in this picture here, she was attending a conference in California. We've had students go to Canada for different events. So ultimately, we want people to be connected to opportunity, whatever that opportunity looks like. Obviously, the ultimate goal is for you to be employed, so you can, earn money and do what you need to do. But other things is just exposure to conferences or get connected to a mentor. So those are the types of things that we do. So me, like I said, my name is Lianne McNaughton. I went to Campion. Yes, Campion. A little bit about myself is that I played netball. I did track and field. Anybody ever heard of hammer throw? Yeah? You know what is a hammer throw? You throw the hammer. I did that in college. Yeah. My background is I have a bachelor's and master's in management information systems. Has anyone ever heard of that degree? Yes? No? Management information systems. No one's ever heard of that degree? Yeah, so it's an interesting degree, right? So I grew up in a really techie family, but I didn't really want to do tech like computer science, right? But I just love the technology world. So management information systems is how do you use technology to improve and make businesses better, which is a lot of the points that you're making. So it's not hardcore technology and it's not hardcore business, but how do you learn more about the technology and the different parts and then implement it to make businesses operate better and more profitable, which is, as you can see, mission critical in today's world, right? You had a question? No? Okay. All right, so that's what management information systems is, and I would say if I'm fortunate enough I use my degree every single day in my job, right? Because I'm constantly figuring out how do I leverage technology, and I'll talk about a little bit about that in my other job, which my day job or my 9-to-5. I work at National Commercial Bank, NCB, so I'll talk about that role and how I use that in my job. But I bring up all of these different things, and there are other things on here is that it's a combination of different things and different parts of you that make up you to show up to work every single day. So your job is not just your degree. Your job is not just, what I studied and then I go up to work. I use what I did in as an athlete, a student athlete. I have different certifications. My degree, all of that makes up into who I am and how I show up to work every single day, right? And then, so roles that I've played, I wanted to play on what the theme or the topic of was today. So different roles that I've done throughout my career. I was a web or software developer, like our first presenter here. I was a project manager, scrum master, some roles and titles you will probably never hear of, or it's not important to hear about now, because the title will always change or change over time. It's just about the skill sets that you have, right? So these are some roles that I've played, and then I Google what are the top 20 tech jobs in the world right now, right? So these are the top 20 tech jobs. Well, actually not according to Google, according to ChatGPT. Everybody knows NCB is a bank, right? And then what do you know a bank to be and a bank to do is to take people's money in the form of deposits and give people money in the form of loans. That's the simplest form of a bank, right? And in the traditional sense, a bank is usually you go into a branch or you go to the ABM and you deposit money and you ask for money, right? And then so essentially my role is how do you leverage technology to make that process more efficient, right? And then how do you implement it in such a way where you can go online and do it yourself, that you don't have to go to the bank. You don't have to go, well, you have to go to the ABM to get cash, right? But also, anybody ever heard of Link? Yeah. right? So you don't even need physical cash anymore because you want, the digital wallet, right? So it's how do you implement and leverage technology to make the processes more efficient, to make the customer experience more efficient, and to do things at your convenience, right? So I could, right now today, you can open up a bank account or a deposit account in the comfort of your bed, right? So you don't have to go into a branch. You can get a loan in minutes, just click and accept, right? And so it's how do you leverage technology, completely disrupting what you think going to a bank or a banking experience was.
I want to encourage you ladies to take those nuggets back today. As young as you are, today say to yourselves that you're going to be a continuous learner. Can I get you to agree with me to that? And that you're going to take every challenge, every opportunity that you get for a problem, see the problem as an opportunity to innovate, right? And to use those skills that Lianne, Sheveena, and Kayvia spoke about today.